Alright guys, we're up and running. Getting ready to set up the Ganzfeld experiment. Gotta get some stuff out of my pockets. And go ahead and put as a disclaimer, we are in the back corner where we were losing signal earlier in the evening. We are using a different phone. If we happen to lose signal in the midst of this experiment, we are recording. So you are mock up here. We will have the camera trained on Miss Leah at all times. And that way, if we do happen to go down in the midst of the experiment, we're just going to stay, we're going to keep going where we're at, and then once everything is said and done, we'll upload the video. So, just to kind of give a quick rundown of the tools that we're using here for the Ganzfeld experiment. It's not anything extremely technical. We have some ping pong balls here that I have cut in half. I will take the ping pong balls and tape them over Leah's eyes. At that point, she will have headphones on. The headphones will be attached to this laptop where I've got white noise generating. And then also during this, she'll have a strobe light being flashed in her face. I know it sounds so much fun, doesn't it? So just to kind of give everybody an example of exactly what we're going to do here, Ed, take that. Let me get this started here first. We're just going to kind of give you an idea of what this is going to look like for Leah. All right, Ed. So what you're seeing right now and what you're hearing, this is all Leah is going to hear. And see. All right, turn the light back on. All right. So Leah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Ed, you're going to have to take this as I apply ping pong balls.
All right, sure.
To my eyeballs.
To the eyeballs. So as I said earlier, this whole experiment is meant to be a case of sensory deprivation. If anybody knows anything about any people that have a handicap, if they be blind, deaf, things of that nature, the other senses have a tendency to heighten themselves to make up for the difference. So if we eliminate sight and sound and put her
Sight and hearing.
sight and hearing, did I say sight and sound? Sight and hearing, then due to her already sensitivity, it should enhance that. So be warned, this is not a test for the faint of heart. We've done this experiment a handful of times. We've gotten nothing, and then we've gotten some really interesting
Results.
Thank you, experiences. So big experiences and results. I myself have partaken in this, and the only thing I felt was paranoia. And I think that just came down to the fact that I couldn't see nothing, I couldn't hear nothing, and I couldn't tell if anybody was really standing around me or not, if that makes any sense. So, Leah, I will hand you the ping pong balls so you can place them comfortably as you want them. And I am actually trying to...
Ow, easy.
Oh, sorry.
You're shoving it in my eye.
Yeah, I need to get a bigger piece of tape. Let me take that one off. Let me see this. Here. I'm actually trying to figure out a way to make the ping pong ball portion of it a little bit more comfortable. Maybe I don't have to consistently tape things to people's eyes. So,
Don't put any pressure.
but until then, this is what we have.
Easy.
I'm getting your hair out of it.
Get the tape. That's good. That's good.
I'm just gonna, this last piece isn't even gonna touch you. It's gonna go across the 2 tennis balls, ping pong balls. This is just to keep them steady. All right.
I can see.
Huh? Do you need me to go tighter?
No.
You good? All right. Go ahead and put the earphones on you. Adjust them as you need them.
Oh, y'all could have gave me some warning. Whew.
Now, when Michael and Leah get that set up, something you want to do when you're setting up an experiment like this, always pay attention to sounds and noises that are around you.
All right. I'm sorry I didn't give you enough warning. Are you ready?
That would be great.
All right. So
Whew.
I will.
Scared me to death.
And that's Ed
She's gonna
scaring us to
bucket.
death also. We'll go ahead and get the button ready.
Ready to go dark?
How do you do that? All right, I got the strobe. Go ahead and go dark, sir.
Going dark.
All right, and I am starting the audio now. For those of you still watching, this isn't always a 100% thing. Just like the paranormal. Something might happen, something might not. But again, this is extreme opening up of the self to the things that are unseen. So you have to take all the precautions. Is there something in the room with us right now? Can you make a noise for us? This is new. I've never seen her type up like this doing this.
Very text.
someone walking back and forth in front of me?
No.
It's like blocking the light.
All right, those of you watching on the video can see that no one's moving.
And if you're saying anything, I can't hear it. But
That's how good
I
this
guess
is.
I don't need to ask questions. And right here is the profile of that female grudge thing.
All right, I'm rolling on an audio recorder. It's October 26th. I don't have a timestamp right now, but it's Mike and we're in here with Leah. Leah's doing the Ganzfeld experiment. She's already picking up on movement in front of her. She says she's seeing the profile of the grudge creature, like from the movie, to her right, which would be my left. Guys, those of you that are watching an EVP session, which we're going to be doing one at the same time as we're doing this Ganzfeld experiment. EVP stands for electronic voice phenomena, and any old audio recorder will do. My laptop just turned the light off, so that's why I got darker in here.
Mm-hmm.
Any recorder will do. Digital recorder. If she starts to speak, I will stop talking to hear what she's got to say. Even an old analog tape recorder will work well. I've used one in the past. A lot of people will say
Someone's touching my hair.
I can see there's nothing behind her. A lot of people will say the downside to the old analogs is you can hear the tape reeling in the background, but sometimes it acts as its own natural white noise and you can pick up voices that way. And that's what EVP basically is you're trying to get a message from something supernatural.
Okay,
Okay.
we're
This
Okay.
thing's growling at
All right,
me.
we're stopping.
all right.
Stopping.
You have no authority.
Step back now. Leave her alone. She's my wife. By the authority of Jesus Christ granted unto me now as her husband, be gone now at the sound of my voice.
You must leave.
Leave right now. In Jesus' name.
You have
Jesus'
no
name.
authority. By the protection of Jesus Christ, you must leave now.
Turn the light on, Ed. Turn the light on.
Oh wow, that was
Whew.
intense.
Let me take this.
Good catch, Thomas.
Excuse me.
That was before Leah's response.
Oh my goodness.
Thomas, that is a very astute observation there, sir.
Take you.
You want to get out of the room?
Mm-mm.
All right, so guys, we're going to give her just a minute. I'll turn myself here. So as you can see, things can get very, very intense. Now, when she's ready to talk about it, we'll get some details on exactly what was happening. But you guys already heard what she was seeing as she was seeing it on up there until the end. We were going to try to do an EVP session, Leah, while all this was going on. I was in the process of explaining an EVP session whenever things kind of went the direction they did. Tori and Trevor are also reporting the same thing that Thomas saw.
Really?
So, but again, they're saying it might be the strobe, but still, I mean, you always want to point out things like that because you never know. I mean, it could be. Could be the strobe, but it might not be. So, I mean, good eye. Definitely good eye. Just wait, guys. Just bear with us.
Yeah, in this situation, what you do, you want to make sure that, one, your investigator's protected. to any time something like that is immediately, just like somebody breaking in your house. You have no authority. You can't touch this investigator. You don't have. You've got to set those boundaries immediately. That's exactly what Michael started doing right off the bat. Great catch by everybody who saw that or heard that. Well, we've got the night vision recording that too, so we'll go back and reevaluate that in a couple of days. We're gonna let her decompress a little bit. During that time, right when we started the experiment, I did hear a couple of taps behind me. I'm not sure if I might have actually bumped into the door. I'm not sure. We'll have to reevaluate. Look at that in a minute. But this experiment, look, folks, I know that you saw her reaction. It's dangerous. She has gifts and discernments. You don't need to do this unprepared. It's very dangerous.
Are you hearing something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm talking, I'm not really hearing anything, but if you can see where that plastic is, it got completely blocked out. I don't know if Leah saw that.
I heard.
I saw something paste left to right. Don't do this experiment, okay? It's too dangerous. Even if you have no sensitivities or anything like that, don't do it. You have to make sure you're prepared. You're dangerous. We do it to find some answers so we can help this client, again, to make them feel empowered. After we get done with this, we'll break down our equipment, we'll decompress. But the last thing we'll do is Michael will go throughout the building and declare the authority of Christ over everything. We'll remove everything. Sometimes that's easy. Sometimes it gets a little hairy. We will not videotape that. That is something I think we're all in agreement with. That doesn't need, just like if it was a deliverance or an exorcism or a cleansing, that doesn't, us videotaping that does need to be taught correctly. And we can do that individually in the future if that's the way we're led. But we don't want to do that while we're actually taking care of a client. For the simple purpose is it draws our focus about what we do. So we can't watch each other and get rid of what's here through the authority that we have through our faith if we're messing with video cameras and cell phones and all that stuff, right? It's not that we don't want you to see that. Our priority is protecting ourselves, our family, and this client. But, eventually, maybe one day, Lord willing, we'll get that documented so we can do it correctly. It is not about, I've heard stuff as far as, I've seen investigators take holy water from a church where rosary reads and smudge themselves at one time. Well, you got 4 or 5 different foundations that a house is not going to stand. You've got to know what you believe, why you believe it, how you believe it, and stand firm on it. You got to draw that line in the sand. John Wayne's famous saying was, life is harder when you're stupid. And I'm not saying those folks are stupid or confused. You've got to know what you believe, and this is what our team's about. We're going to be doing some of these more in the future, Lord willing. Again, check out our news articles, our newsletters, some great information. We'll do some live. We're going to be, I don't know if y'all picked that up on audio, but I just heard something metal bounce in that corner. Did anybody?
There's nothing metal.
There's nothing
there.
metal.
in the corner.
I'm going to
I just heard
turn.
a knock behind you.
It is.
Let's go silent for just a second.
Okay.
Guys on Facebook, we're going to go silent. We're going to keep running, but we're going to keep the lights on. But report anything you hear.
That's what I heard. That was you.
No, I heard it sound more metallic. Like a tin. Yeah.
It's not these lights above our head warming up.
No, it was down this.
Right
down
in the
here.
corner. Okay,
Okay.
just checking.
That's why I looked over there when I didn't see anything metal.
Hey.
Are you trying to let us know that you're here? Can you make that noise again? Can you say something? You felt the need to get all big and bad when you had my wife isolated. Now you've got 3 of us staring you down. You don't want to say anything, make any noises?
It's not gonna do anything else now.
No.
So that,
For paying attention to.
exactly right, and that's one thing that malevolent or demonic spirits will do is when they realize that we know that we have the authority to take dominion of our situation, it'll start distracting you, and you'll get the squirrel mentality. You hear sounds over here. As investigators, you can chase those all day long, but you've got to stop and make yourself. And if you notice what has immediately happened, Leah stayed where she's at, and as she should, because she's the most sensitive. I had my back against the wall. Michael had his back against the wall. And the reason we did that is we immediately were able. We'll have to check that out. We need to wait to see another car drive by.
Did you see a light or something?
I saw a light hit the window, and something looked like it was coming from the window, went from bottom right to top left, but that could easily have been a car. So I'm just going to wait for that again. But what we immediately do, Mike and I put our backs against the wall. That way we can watch all 3 of us at the same time. We have one exit. It's just a safety thing, right? Like Mike said earlier, we want to make sure we go home just as safe.
Right.
And it's not for us particularly. We're always concerned, but we all have kids. We have good grandkids. We want to make sure they're safe. See what's happening now, since we're paying attention to Facebook Live. Again, if you see something or hear something, call it out. I'm seeing a little shadow going back and forth. Some of that, and the only reason I'm really paying attention to it because I don't see cars moving, is blocking out the cellophane. Watch this, stitch cord.
I'm just going over here. Actually, I will as soon as I'm gonna step out.
Okay.
Now tell me when I'm to the place that you were seeing the shadow. Right around in here?
No, go down, take a right.
Right here?
Right there. Leah and I are in agreement with that, Mike. He was taller than I am.
Here comes a car. Now I want to go ahead and debunk, because I saw it on the camera just now. A bug flew by while I had the light going, and it may have looked like an orb to everybody else, but it was not.
Watch the cord.
Yeah, I tried to step over it and lost my balance. Are you feeling any better?
I feel uneasy.
Yeah.
That I was not expecting that. So, I first started out, it seemed like someone was just walking back and forth in front of me, so I didn't know if they were adjusting things or anything.
Which we weren't.
Okay, well. And then the profile of the female thing that I picked up in here earlier,
Yes.
I just saw the profile of her, so I knew she was standing right here. And then it just seemed like everything just got aggressive all of a sudden.
Quickly.
And she turned her face towards me and just got that big wide grin and got super sinister. And then I started hearing a low rumble, growl, and then it just, the growling just got louder, and that's when I just couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
And that thing just kept looking at me, and with that big, it's almost like that kaleidoscope morphed
Yes.
type look to it.
Had a couple of viewers state that they saw a shadow behind you, almost to your left, over here. Both of them said that it could have been the strobe light going, but they just wanted to report on that.
Okay.
And we were running a regular camera in that business, so we were evaluate.
Yeah.
But that was intense.
Yeah, that was too intense.
Guys, I want to go on record here. This is only the second time Leah has ever done this experiment. First time, surprisingly, nothing happened. So, very interesting that we were able to get something this go around.
I do think, though, that that first time I did it, I was kind of expecting something really grand, and so I was super closed off. But here, I know I was more wide open, and that's something that I should have been more cautious about.
Right.
In these situations, you can't be too safe.
Right.
Especially now, as far as the equipment side, that's what Mike and I kind of focus on, the safety issues and all that stuff. But when you have sensitivities, Mike has them a little bit. He don't like to say that, but he does. He picks up some things, especially if we're messing with demonic issues. I'm sorry, that's the wrong term. We're dealing with demonic issues. We shouldn't be messing with them. When we're handling those for folks. And I'll say this, and this is the reason why our ministry got together, for a lot of prayer and meditation. We realized in today's time, there's a gap. So there is a gap between your regular paranormal guys or groups, and then you got the ministers and the churches now. You know, God loves both of them. But we're that stopgap. We're filling in that situations. So we train investigators, we train homeowners, business owners, whatever. In my opinion, and I'm not going to speak for Michael and Leah, but for my opinion, I think it's going to get worse in today's society because people are entertained.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be careful about what you. I can't watch scary movies. I spaz out, right? Can't do it. These like Travel Channel haunted shows, can't do it. Can't do it. Gets in my mind and messes with me. I can't do it. You got to know what bothers you because the enemy knows where the chink in the armor is at, and that's what he's going to come after. So if you feel like you're not a man or a woman enough, or you're not a good parent, that's where he's going to attack all the time. Okay. When you have a solid foundation and you've got a team like us, that's what we do. This is not about showing how scared we can get or what experience. It is 100% what we've seen tonight and what y'all seen tonight is absolutely what we experienced.
Mm-hmm.
I've made the mistake before of going, oh, we've got a regular investigation. Well, that regular investigation ended up blessing the whole building.
Right.
We saw something in the form of black fog rolling everywhere. And I have to figure things out. That's my nature. I still can't figure that out. And it's, that's just what it is. So you've got to be prepared for these situations. Just like, you got a fire extinguisher in your home, you've got fire insurance, life insurance, whatever. Your kid's allergic to something, you got an EpiPen. You know, we're the EpiPen of the paranormal community, I guess you would say. We really want people to understand the reason we did this. Now, we debated it for a really long time. We really did. A lot of discussion. We don't always get along. I mean, especially if it's a tough case, we're pretty rough with each other. I mean, we'll argue and fight, and I mean, it's bad. Because we're all concerned about different things, and that's why we're brought together, because there's three of us, and there's a purpose behind that. But we'll go on that later. Hopefully next month we're going to do maybe some Facebook Lives in one of our homes, and talk about some of these things where we don't have to worry about whatever floating around.
Yeah, right.
There's so much stuff, guys, that us to be able to go over. We're not going to be able to cover it all in one night. So we're just going to get what we can. So we actually got a question that came in through Facebook Messenger. Person who evidently doesn't like our page yet. Like our page. He asked basically along the lines of he believes that there's something out there, but he's never seen anything. So he just kind of wants to know like how we feel about that. I mean, if we've never seen anything, like I myself, I've seen things I don't understand, but I like what Leah just experienced. I have never had anything like that happen to me. So, I mean, coming at that from my standpoint, I've seen far too much stuff in this world that doesn't make any sense for me to think that there's not something more out there. I have seen the devil at work. I have been in locations where I have seen things cast out of people, and it's not a pretty sight. It's one of those things that in the movies, it's like, oh, that's great. But guys, if you were there, you wouldn't want to be there. And Leah will tell you firsthand from her own experience. First thing people always ask her is, well, what do you see? What do you see? Do you see this? Do you see that? And Leah will always tell people.
No, they say, "Oh, that's so cool. I wish I could see something like that," or "I wish I could do what you do," or that just must be really, really neat that you can see things that other people can. No, I guarantee you, no one would ever ask for this, because it takes a little piece of you every time, and I'm still kind of.
You still shook up?
Yeah, I'm still pretty shook up. I'm still kind of getting my wits about me. I really wasn't expecting that. And it's, yeah.
Right.
I can't even articulate. But, yeah, you don't ask for this.
No.
You don't. And, I would love to just be able to just see normally and not see the crud and the evil.
Right. And I want to go on a limb and actually say, the question's very, very refreshing, because most of the time, and I'm not harping on anybody, people get on here, they don't understand. All they know is what they've seen on television. And they, like Leah said, they were like, oh, that's cool, you must see this. Or my favorite ones are the ones hey, I'm a medium, can I come, speak to the dead with you and stuff like that. And that's just not what we believe. So it's nice to actually to get a question that didn't involve anything like that. Because, I mean, I haven't seen anything. Ed has seen a little bit, maybe here and there, and then Leah, can see it all. But that doesn't mean just because, that's what makes the three of us such a good team, is because it's three varying perspectives. I like to consider myself a believing skeptic. I'm going to eliminate every natural possibility out of something before I say, hey, I can't really explain that.
You're not going to get a lot accomplished if you have a room full of people that can see or feel or sense. You've got to have a good balance. So you need those people that don't have that ability, that can, think logically in the natural, as far as trying to, there's maybe a natural explanation for something, so let me try this and let me try to recreate it or replicate it. And we need that, you need that balance within a team or within a group if you ever decide to go somewhere. It's very confusing. It's very distracting if you just have a bunch of people that can feel things. And just be mindful of that too, because one reason that I like to go into a place cold and not knowing anything about it is because power suggestion is so strong, and we don't even realize it. They even just a little hint of something, and just using our own personal intuition, things like that, you can build on it, and you can just draw from that little piece of information and create a whole scenario. And then all of a sudden you feel it. So you have to be very mindful of that. If you feel like you have an ability, test it. Go somewhere cold, completely cold. Don't know nothing about it, not one thing. Don't look it up. Don't listen to conversations, nothing. And then see if what you are feeling or picking up, write it down first. And then have someone compare the actual history or your notes compared to facts that have been found.
And don't go alone.
No.
Sure you know. Because that's how Lee initially started out. Is in the beginning and with anybody with a gift like this, I'm sure at some point in her life, actually I know, people looked at her and like, you're crazy. Something's wrong with you.
Some still do.
So in the beginning, she wasn't confident enough to speak what she was seeing. So the only way I could get any information from her was to give her a notepad and pen, and she would walk through and write down everything that she experienced. And then I would take that and I would compare it with what I had gotten from the client. And 99.9%, I'm only giving a small margin of error there, she was right on the money. So that's how I'd recommend anybody that feels like they've got something like that. The Bible says test the spirits. So if you feel like you've got a gift like that, test it, but be careful, because the enemy, just as God is God is the creator, the devil is the great deceiver. And anything that God created as a blessing, the devil can take it and turn it into a curse. You may get what you think is, I like Ed's analogy of Aunt Betty. You think it's your dead Aunt Betty, but I'm sorry, guys, dead Aunt Betty isn't here. She's either in glory or she's in eternal damnation. That's just the way it is. We don't know her heart, but she's moved on. She's not here. You're dealing with three forms here. You're dealing with the angelic, the demonic, and then the residual. We covered residual earlier, as it's basically the video recording that's repeating itself over and over throughout all of time. The angelic, I'm going to say, and I didn't believe this for a while, but Leah and I have talked about it, and I think I'm more and more inclined to believe this. We serve an all-powerful God. He can do anything. He can do whatever he wants. I may need a message of comfort for me. Now, my mother, and it's in the Bible, she's passed away. She passed away 12 years ago. She's in heaven. She's not going to come back to tell me. Until Christ comes back, she's not coming back to give me messages. She wouldn't want to come back to this earth. Trust me, where she's at right now, she would not want to come back and see the suffering in this world. But if I need a message, God's going to send an angel to deliver that message to me. Well, if I saw an angel, I would freak out. The angel would not get the message to me, because I would be running the other way, because I'd be like, oh, what is this? God may allow that angel to take the form of my mother, at which point I would get that message. Now, here's the way you tell the difference, because the devil can do the same thing. He can cause a demon to take that form. Now, most of the time, whenever you see a demon in the form of somebody else, there's always something off. Something's a little wrong. One arm's longer than the other. That's just, stuff like that, just weird things. Something's not right about it. But whatever the message is that's being delivered to you, it has to line up with the Word of God. Yeah. An example, we had a case several teams ago, Leah and I, we went into a complex there. They had a small boy that lived there, and the boy had an imaginary friend that he played with. And the family thought, well, it's okay. It's a spirit of a little boy. Our boy's got a friend. We'll just let him play. Well, everything was fine and dandy until the little boy's imaginary friend was telling him to jump out of the window because they lived on a second-story floor, or doing things to hurt himself. people are not, anything that's going to come back to you that's going to give you a good message is not going to tell you to off yourself. I mean, that's not in line with the Word of God. So that's where that whole verse comes back, and I know I'm starting to preach, and I apologize. It comes back to testing the spirits. You got to make sure that what you're hearing lines up with the Word of God, and if it doesn't, don't receive it. Speak against it. Again, it all comes down to that authority. While I've been talking, Nick Widman has come online, Wildman.
Yep.
And Teresa, thanks for joining us. But I'm going to turn the camera back around, or I'm going to get up behind the pulpit and start Bible thumping. I did bring my Bible, so be careful. Ed?
Yeah, I would agree with Michael and Leah both. I mean, it's a fantastic question. It is very refreshing to get those things. The one thing that makes our team powerful is we really don't care about catching stuff on audio or video. It's just, again, just make people at peace. World's crazy enough. Everybody's got a headache. Everybody's got worried about stuff, this, that, or other thing. What we have to do is we got to go in and make sure that 2-year-old boy is safe. And, you know, from a parent mentality.
I heard it too.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to try to ignore that and see if it comes happen again.
And Leah's head jumped up whenever it happened too. I don't know if anybody heard that on the audio just now, but I'm not going to say what I heard. Let's just say I heard something.
Yeah, but what we enjoy as a team is, and this is so physically and emotionally stressful, spiritually stressful. A while back is the first, and I've seen weird things, but I've always, this what if mentality, I could always display it, and especially men are bad about this. I kind of feel like it's a gift sometimes. If I don't have to explain it or see it, I don't have to deal with it.
Ostrich syndrome, head in the sand.
Yeah, so if I throw all the dirt under the couch, the house is clean. We had a case where we were referred from another team that couldn't handle this situation. Just fine. Something happened, and for whatever reason, I set a chair down and declared the authority. It couldn't do nothing. Now, it didn't say, oh, okay. It didn't take off. Now, this was not me. It's nothing Michael did, Lee or Michael did. It was not me that did anything. It was the authority that we have through our beliefs, our faith. It is a God-given ability that He gives us. And everyone has that authority if you understand Scripture. That's where the authority comes from. We sit down, and I'm not going to tell you what I saw or how it looked, but it terrified me. I have never been that scared in my life. Never. Completely wrecked my world. I don't want to see it again. I can't. It bothers me to talk about it. Very heartbreaking on that particular situation is the client, and it's something we ask the client. We're going to come in, we're going to spend this energy, all this time and effort. We can get rid of anything that we declare and have authority to, but if you invite it back in for entertainment purposes, we're wasting our time. And that's the thing. That's our follow-up situation. We go back to the client and say, hey, you need to change these things. Sometimes it's behaviors, sometimes it's objects in the house, some things, stuff you're watching. It's tough. And I'm hearing all kind of noises over there right now, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'm going to do to what Ed said, and then we'll follow up on some of these noises that we're hearing. We're basically the cleanup crew. I mean, if anything, we can come into your house and we can, for an analogy, we can come sweep everything up, clean everything up, take all the trash out, make your house pristine. But if you continue to live in filth and keep pizza boxes on the floor and throw cans around, the house is going to get nasty again. And it's the same thing with this kind of deal. If we come in, we're going to do everything in our power to remove what's in the house, but there have to, or the business, whatever. But there have to be steps taken by the homeowner or the business owner. And sometimes it's stuff that people don't want to do. It can be hard. Giving up things, giving up addictions, giving up heirlooms, things that have attachments, changing your life. These are all things that have to happen in a lot of these situations, and some people just don't want to do that. So you have to realize when it comes down to this kind of thing, we can come in and clean the house, but it's up to you to keep it swept. And I'm going to follow Ed because we've got something.
I'm going on view.
Walking.
I do not need to be removed.
See something. I'm leaving.
Is that camera still running?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm right behind you, Leah. Excuse me, that was me.
I just saw it. Oh,
That was Ed's shoes.
was it? I just thought I heard a door open.
His foot creaked on the floor right there.
It might have been. I'm here talking.
I did too.
Hearing what?
Talking.
Hearing the conversation in that room right there. That was me.
Guys, this is something that happens a lot whenever we start talking about the authority of Christ and things that have to be done. Activity has a tendency to stir up. If anybody hears or sees anything, don't be afraid to post it.
That was just the door.
Okay, that was the door we just came out of. Ed, when you were in here earlier, how far up did you push this chair in?
Had it all the way in.
Come here and check this. I mean, we could go back and look at video, but
It is out. Part of the plane. It's not easy to move, and it's coming toward me.
alright, so I'm gonna reset the chair. Alright.
I might have been working so somebody might be doing the physically right now. I'm not comfortable going by the bathroom.
I'm not comfortable in here, Paul.
That was me. Screwed. Stepped on the screen.
Mr. Grooms, thanks for joining us tonight. I heard it.
Easily.
Did you just exhale?
Yes.
Okay. It was either that or it sounded like running water.
I can hear something in the.
Well, I'll get on this.
Mm-hmm. Is this the carpet?
Yeah.
It's pressing against the door. I know the door's heavy.
I hear a low growl.
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
Nope, I'm hearing it. Every time I open the door, it's getting louder. Or you hearing that? Okay.
Open the door.
It is.
Hmm. It's me breathing.
Mom,
I'm standing in the door.
you're too far in.
I got a foot in. I'm just trying to keep Ed inside. Where's it coming from?
What?
You keep coming closer to me, something's that way.
Oh, I don't even realize I do that.
Yep.
So what we're gonna have to do, yeah,
I don't know if I'm just over heightened because of
no, I mean, look,
the experiment.
I got hair, I mean, it's, I feel sick to my stomach now.
That's what I was getting earlier. Nauseous. See if there's anything on the pad.
That's what I'm gonna go do right now.
I don't expect there to be.
Nope, pen is right where I left it.
Okay.
Although I'm gonna fix the pen because I just noticed that it's pulled apart there just a little bit. There we go.
Was it like that?
And that's how I'm leaving it. So that Free to Be Me is right there, facing this way, parallel lines. So if anything tries to mark on it, we'll see it.
If anybody picked up on anything, just let us know.
Yes.
Yeah, did anybody that's watching see or hear anything? Is everybody still awake? I gotta get plugged up here. I can hold this for a little bit. Thomas says he noticed the drawer was also out a little bit at the desk where the chair was pushed back. I didn't take note of the desk, so
Good catch, Thomas.
yeah.
As you can tell, we're all exhausted right now. A lot of times,
Gotta keep your energy up.
yeah, caffeine. And sometimes in these situations, you can push yourself too far. You got to be able to call it when it's time to do what you need to do. It's 11:15. We'll stay on for another 10-15 minutes. If you got any questions, or you think you saw or heard something, please tell us. We're gonna go back. We'll have to collect some of our gear. After we get everything packed up, we're gonna have a little prayer meeting. Make sure whatever's here stays here, and we get rid of it. Put it back where it came from, or where it belongs, anyways. We're not really concerned at this point with the growls and the experiment, the way Leah reacted. We don't need to spend no more time. I think we're in agreement that we don't need to spend more time trying to document that. We know what it is. It doesn't want to play games. We're not going to play games. So we're going to stay on here a little bit longer, ask some questions. Please ask questions. It couldn't necessarily be about the investigation. It could be maybe some haunted locations in this area that you heard about. The one thing I will say, especially your haunted locations or your haunted cemeteries or graveyards, when you do your research, don't do Google. Is fantastic, but it's not the gospel. Okay.
What?
Do simple things, as in, I trust Mike and Leah's opinion, and when they tell me something, but I will check it out on my own, because maybe I have a resource to look at something different, or we all misread and misunderstand things. That's all very, very possible. There's a lot of local places that have haunted. Nowadays everything's haunted, especially if you pay $20 to go check it out.
Duh.
I'm not knocking that. If you want to run a business, that's fine. That's great. Okay. I see my paycheck and I see how much bills I got, so that scares me bad enough. I'm not going to pay somebody to scare me.
Thomas says if it's on Google, it has to be true.
Well, check your research. It's that simple. And honestly, there's this really cool thing that ancient Americans used to use. It's called a library. Go check the library, and I guarantee you'll find somebody. And my local library has a fantastic lady. She's able to pull up genealogy of everything in the county when it even broke off of the original county. I went in there and spoke to that lady for about 2 hours one time, and she gave me more information about a location within that 2 hours that I could do in 20 years. You find those resources, use them. Make sure they understand that don't abuse them, but make sure they understand that they're appreciated. I think the last thing I like to say, and I'll shut up and let Michael and Leah say a few things. Leah's still trying to decompress a little bit. She's pretty exhausted. If you have any questions or concerns, reach out to us. Honestly, I make this comment, and I do it a little sarcastically. The devil's not going to pop out in red spandex and a pitchfork that says, "I'm here for your soul." Exactly. He's going to find that weakness and keep coming after you over and over and over again. Got to be careful. Got to absolutely be careful. We want investigators, teams out there that are watching this. If you've got a question that is spiritual warfare, demonic, give us a shout. We'll sit down and talk with you. And with the Halloween season, I want to give this disclaimer, please, people. Don't mess with Ouija boards, spirit boards. Don't make one. Don't put magnets on your refrigerator and ask your great Aunt Betty to make it. You're opening a door. You're giving authority to the spiritual realm to do something. You've got to be careful. That stuff will get you and get you quick. And I will say the last thing, I'm appreciated for everybody in the paranormal community, my friends and family who helps us. So, Mike, Leah.
I'm just giving Thomas a close-up because he commented that he loves the shotgun shell flashlight.
Well,
It does his Christmas gifts.
Yeah, this was my stocking stuffer was it last year or the year before?
we were putting rock salt and holy water in shotgun shells for Supernatural ever figured it out.
Our last name is really Winchester.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately the batteries are dead in this, but this is actually a really good flashlight, so
if it comes on, we know it's not natural.
right. Like, okay, y'all see that it doesn't come on. So if it turns on right now, something's here. We're leaving right now. I'm gonna throw this bottle of holy anointing oil all over myself. I almost said holy water.
Holy water. Hey, yeah, that's something we need. I've got to. Leah knows where I'm going. A lot of people out there, they buy holy water off the internet, and you get the goofy little Saint, whatever, Raphael card, Michael card, whatever it's called. It's one of those painters or turtles. Here's the thing.
Saint Raphael's patron saint of sarcasm.
Yes, that would be my saint. But in all honesty, folks, if you need holy water, just go to your kitchen and boil the hell out of it. I'm sorry, I had to. But no, if you, again, don't, for God's sake, don't mess with none of this stuff. I'll be the first one to tell you, we're not professionals. And there's not a day that I go by that I think, oh, I don't want to do this. And I'm being honest, you know.
The choice word is entertain. Don't entertain it, because that's where people get. I've got a whole halo right here because of the light. I'm trying to get it with that. That's the best I can do.
It ain't gonna look no better.
No, people get sucked into stuff because they entertain it. that spirit of the kid in your home, like I said, when we were trying to remove it from that one home, all the lady kept saying was, well, if it's the spirit of a little boy, we don't want it gone. We want him to stay here. And it's like, no, you don't. It says in the Bible that when an unclean spirit comes out of a man, he walks through dry places, looking for rest and finding none. And he says, I'll return to my house from whence I came, which is your mind. It says he finds it swept and put in order. And then he moves back in and brings 7 of his buddies with him, and it says that the condition of that man was worse than before. So that's the key here. If you take the authority that's granted unto you and you push these things out, or you have us come in, and help you to push these things out, we're going to get it clear. We're going to take everything out, but we're going to leave a space, and that has to be refilled with something, with blessing, with love, peace, wisdom, all this stuff. You pray to God and ask for that, for the Holy Spirit to come and fill those gaps in your life. Because otherwise, if you leave that emptiness there, you're going to potentially get back into old habits, whether it be dabbling in the occult, alcoholism, pornography, infidelity, some of those things. And you're going to end up worse off than you were before. Because he's not going to come alone this time when he comes back. He's going to bring 7 of his buddies. So that's the danger of entertaining it, is people think it's a game. People think it's fun. There is not a case, and I can say this with my right hand lifted, there's not a case that we haven't dealt with where someone is having some sort of demonic attachment, where it didn't come down to something that they had done in their past, something so minute that they wouldn't even think about it. Yeah, I once went out in a cemetery and used a Ouija board. Yeah, I went and performed a love ritual to make a love potion so some guy would like me back in middle school. I spoke a curse against somebody. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So when you speak things into existence, it happens. That's why whenever you have to, if you noticed earlier, whenever everything was going on, I didn't just, think, enemy, get off of my wife. I spoke it. I spoke it to show my authority and to put that in the air, because what we bind on earth and loose on earth is bound and loose in heaven. So you speak these things with your mouth in order to gain that authority and to get the control. Ed, you want to hop in there?
Nah, I just seeing.
Oh, because I'm starting to preach again. I thought you were trying to tell me to stop.
Preach on.
But that's why it's not a game, guys. The Ouija board has caused so many problems for so many people. Just talking to something one time, going to a card reader, talking to a medium. Favorite example is the lady on TV, the Long Island Medium, or whatever. I can't think of her name right off the top of my head, but her TV show. She may have a gift. She may, because her readings are fairly spot on. Even Leah says that she seems to be pretty legit. But the difference is her ability has been distorted and twisted. So in her own mind, she thinks she's doing the right thing by going to people and giving them messages from loved ones, talking about, your child that passed on, they're still watching over you, and all these things. And I know that there's tricks that charlatans can play to be able to get that information. I don't know if that's what she's doing or not, but what I believe is that she has an ability that's being used by the enemy for wrong reasons. Because if I speak something into your life and saying like, hey, your so-and-so relative loves you and is watching over you, and every time the wind blows through your hair on the second Thursday of every month when the sun's shining, that's them touching you, something like that. I've planted a seed into, that was pretty in-depth, wasn't it? No, I've just planted a seed into your life. So now you think, wow, there must be a way that I can go communicate with that person. And then they're going to either continue to go see more card readers, more mediums, spend money, or, God forbid, they start using the Ouija board or trying to conduct sessions in their own home, seances to contact this dead loved one. And that's just the devil putting a foothold in and opening a door, and here they come, just filing in to ruin your life. So, and that's what we're here to speak against. Be careful of what people speak into your life. Again, that whole thing of it lining up with the Word of God. You got to make sure it lines up right. Because if someone speaks something to you, you can choose not to receive that. You can reject that. But the problem is a lot of people, when stuff's spoken into them, they receive it. And then that also can open doors. Guys, we're coming here to about the end of our time on this. Anybody got any other questions or anything before we wrap this thing up? We're going to get our gear together, say some blessings, have a prayer meeting, and then probably roll up on out of here. We've got everything we need. We know what we need to tell the client. And that's another thing is, I mean, we gather information, but we're not going to sit here till 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning trying to gather stuff when we already know what we're up against. So now it's just a matter of getting a plan together to get this thing out of this business and tell the business owner what needs to be done. So, guys, give it just another, maybe one more minute or two. If you've got anything to add, Leah or Ed, anybody want to add anything while we're here?
That's a lot of information to absorb. I think we're good for the night, sir.
Okay. Leah, you think we're good? All right, guys. Well, thanks for stopping in. I know we've been going here for about three or so hours. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for being patient through all the stops. 4 hours. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. But thanks, Thomas. That's what we're here for, man. But guys, if anything comes up later, you know how to get a hold of us. We've got the team page, paranormalhelpministry.com. You got the Facebook page. We've got paranormalhelp@outlook.com. And then we've got the phone number, 423-402-0386. And within the next week or so, we will download these videos and put them on the website so that you can watch them there as well. So thanks again, guys. Have a good night. God bless.